right? I've been ignorant. I'm still ignorant in certain things that I'm just not aware of, right? And I'm okay with that. That's my vulnerability. Because I can tell somebody in a heartbeat and say, hey, I just don't know it. That's vulnerability. You see what I'm saying? When you're saying that I don't know, you are exposing yourself, saying that this is a vulnerable position. Now, the onus is on that person to, now that they know, going back to what you said, now that you know of my vulnerability, I have to be aware of manipulation that can happen to occur. You see what I'm saying? So now that I've exposed myself or whatnot, I have to be wise enough to recognize that now that I'm exposed, not in fear, but in wisdom, that if that communication goes into the wrong ears, discernment jumps in and says, I think I need to make sure that this communication is dealt with right. You know what I'm saying? You about to say something, bro?
No, I'm thinking, like, as you were talking about it, because you hit on like two of the things that's kind of been swirling around in my mind too. And just like you were talking about, it kind of goes back to the automotive experiences again. We talked about like the SWOT before, the SWOT diagram I talked about. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then once you identify all those, converting the weaknesses to strengths, converting the threats to opportunities. And that's that kind of going back to what Uncle was talking about too. Uncle James was talking about too, right? It's like when you are looking at, if we are coming here to this place
Ain't
week
y'all the
after
same
week.
age?
I'm just playing.
Not too far off. It's all right. It's all right. It's an honor. I earned every one of these grades. It's all right. It is what it is. When you are in a situation where I'm coming to a place week in, week out.
Yes.
And it's collectively known we don't talk about this one thing. And when you start asking the questions, well, why don't we talk about it? Well, because if we were to talk about it, we perceive something would be broken. Something is not going to continue the way that it has been if we expose and address and talk about this vulnerability. So what do we do in place of that? We choose this existence of walking on this line, this very fine line, always one step away from falling off the cliff to death, because we'd rather walk that line rather than really address what's there. Wow. And to the other point that you made, there is no opportunity to strengthen a weakness that you can't address head on and acknowledge that it's there. That's the twist. That's what we kind of talk about in this show is a weakness is there. We all have them. None of us have bulletproof skin. The weaknesses are there. All of us have a functioning brain that has some kind of emotions that are going to be there, and you will feel some that are negative. You cannot address a weakness to convert it into a strength if you don't first acknowledge that it's there and then seek for knowing that this weakness is there. And this, again, if you're in a position of leadership, how it should be approached. I know this weakness is there. I know this vulnerability is there. Rather than having us straddle the line and never directly addressing it, especially if it's something that I'm worried people are going to break for or have some kind of issue with, I'd rather take it head on and address it intentionally. Make a point to bring up that vulnerability so we can strengthen up that area rather than waiting for a catastrophe or some mistaken mention of this thing that's going to all of a sudden cause us uproar. I'd rather get ahead of that situation and say, let's have a controlled discussion about this thing and make sure we address it and have an open conversation so we can all say what's going on, what's in our minds, but also to address this thing in a way that I'm going to take this potential weakness and I'm going to flip it. I'm gonna say this is a vulnerability here, so that we can address it and make sure we convert it into a strength and don't leave ourselves vulnerable for.
Yes,
very good.
Tamara, you gonna say something?
No, he hit it.
Oh, okay.
About strengthening that weakness.
It takes being intentional for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you mentioned, I don't know if anybody else has any other points they wanted to make on that. I'm talking too much.
No, you good, man. Go ahead.
You mentioned manipulation, which is the other side of it, because I think that goes back to the honesty. And people that are master manipulators, it's very easy to get control of some human's mindset when you know what vulnerabilities they have.
Yes.
And there are some vulnerabilities that are very common to most people. You can touch on a poverty trigger. And if you say something about that poverty trigger, that's something that's unknown to the person, and it's been a pain point for them, you have a very good chance of capturing their attention and being able to guide their mindset on that topic. because they feel the pain of it, don't know where to assign blame. So when I come in and speak to that pain and then assign blame and say, hey, you're feeling this like everybody else is, look over here. You don't realize the subtlety in that command and the effect of the manipulation when that person fake sympathizes with your vulnerabilities. So it's important that and this is why we're talking about like having that honest conversation, the need to sit and ask yourself and peel away those layers. And you get to this mask. Okay, why do I have this mask? What happened that led to this? What was the first time it's showing up? Peel that one away. Get to the next one underneath it. You need to get down to that root child where all these decisions began and where they started. And start to figure out what vulnerabilities do I have, because if you don't know what they are and somebody else comes along and speaks to those weaknesses and give you answers before you even knew how to form the question,
Very good.
the effect, the ability of that person to direct your mindset and where you go is very, very real, and it's very treacherous if you're not discerning. So the need for us to be honest and to go through that process of searching within to find what those vulnerabilities are, because if you don't and you're feeling something for it and you haven't characterized it, other people can come in and control you, can manipulate you before you even realize what's going on, because they're speaking to a hurt that you have that you haven't recognized or haven't dealt with.
So
ask the questions so you could deal with them.
So what you're saying is that person, that manipulator, is presenting themselves as a healer to
Yes.
the wound that you have.
Yes.
And they being a manipulator, they're providing only one avenue of
Yes.
quote unquote healing.
That's right.
Even though that may not bring the healing that's necessary,
Absolutely
but it's
right.
convenient to that person that's manipulating the situation.
Spot on.
Very good.
Spot on.